our stockroom. There's pretty poor controls over it at the moment, so we're ending up with either too much going out in a certain month or not enough going out in a certain month, etc. So what's hitting our accounts is not necessarily representative of what's actually going on our sites. So obviously, so Gareth basically introduced us to the whole concept of sort of an outsource, a third-party stock control module. So really, we just want to have a look and see if it ties in with what we want to do, particularly with respect to Sage.
So you have multiple warehouses or multiple locations now?
No, we have one location.
If you faded out a little bit on me. You say that
Pardon?
again? Can you
We
say
have
that
one.
again?
We have one warehouse.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let me. I'm just gonna log out so you can see me log in. Can you see the screen? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I can see everything fine.
Is it refreshing? Kind of. Hopefully it's.
Yeah, it's all happening real time, so it's fine.
Okay. So.
There's no lag in it.
Inventory Pro has been around since 1996, a little over 20 years. It's purely cloud-based at this point. We have a Windows product that we're phasing out. It was a Microsoft Access GUI to a SQL backend database, and Microsoft Access is just such a nightmare nowadays that, and everybody, it's so much simpler to just have a browser-based front end that, you know, we're just abandoning our Windows product.
Yeah, sure.
So the system has system users and then groups and group permissions. So you can control what everybody that's using the software through these groups and group permissions. And then when you create a new user, you just assign them to a group. It's very much like Windows security. Okay?
Yeah.
So if I click on this, our standard demo data just has 4 groups: admins, employees, customers, and suppliers. And if you click on edit, you know, you can add, it's a user manageable list, so that you can add new groups at will and have as many as you want.
Okay.
So, and then, so I just added a new group. If we go back to permissions, group permissions, this is kind of, usually this is done when the system is originally configured, and then it hardly gets tweaked after that. Admin, as you can see, can do everything. These are all the different functions that we have security set up for in the system, and admin can do everything. But if we were to pick customer, you can see that we've severely restricted what they can do, and it mostly has to do with orders. You know, they can create an online order, and then they can view their order status, basically. So, and the other thing that you can do with users is you can restrict them to a warehouse. Where's the warehouse ID here? Okay, so if you had not selected here, then they'd be able to see all the warehouses. But if you put them in a warehouse, when they log in, they're going to get set to that warehouse, and that's the only warehouse that they can see. Now, in your case, since you only have one warehouse, this may not really apply to you, but
okay, that's fine.
There's keystrokes up.
Yeah, right, and it prevents people from accidentally goofing up other people's, you know, spaces. But if we come, it sounds like you want to do, right now, you're using Sage 500 to create purchase orders, I imagine, to replenish your inventory?
No, we're using Sage 200 at the moment.
Sage 200?
Yeah.
I couldn't quite hear that, but
Connected to the.
I'm sorry, the audio's not coming through well enough.
So the question was, can Inventory Pro interface with Sage 200?
The answer is not specifically right now. We interface with a lot of accounting systems, QuickBooks, Sage 50, and a lot of other ones. We don't have a specific Sage 200 interface now. We'd have to create one, but I don't think it would be, a huge task since we've done lots of accounting interfaces already.
As long as they have a published API, it won't be a problem.
Right.
Okay.
I'm sure they do.
And there are tools out there that I forget the name of one. It's kind of like a black box where you interface with it and then interface with virtually every accounting system out there. So, we can look at implementing that. So I don't think it'll be a problem.
All right, that's fine.
I just typed in Sage 200 API, and the first thing that comes up is Sage 200 API documentation. So they have
Right. So you can have multiple warehouses. It may not apply in your situation, but it may. So you can have as many warehouses as you need, and you can use warehouses as a virtual concept as well as a physical concept. So you might set customers up as warehouses, or employees up as warehouses, or different departments up as warehouses. There's a whole bunch of different process configurations we can go through, and you may actually find multiple warehouses to be a feature that you like, but you may not as well. So, and you can, again, you'll see a lot of similarity from screen to screen. If you drill in with the pencil, you'll come into all the attributes of a warehouse, and you can change them.
Okay.
So there's purchase orders in here, and depending on the process that we arrive at, we may or may not use them. And the reason I say that is if we go back to the items, you can set up reorder levels. So when a product, goes below a certain point in your warehouse, it will automatically generate a purchase order to replenish it to the fill to point.
Okay, yeah.
And then what we can do is create a purchase order in Inventory Pro and maybe interface that purchase order with Sage 200. I don't know. Let me go, if I go, where's it been under other utilities, there's a restocking. Yeah. Okay, so I just ran a quick utility that's going to generate purchase orders, or at least one purchase order. Yeah, it looks like one purchase order to replenish our sample data here. So if I say suggest PO and then create purchase order. Okay, so we just created this PO 00007.
Apple's getting richer.
Yeah. And again, this is our standard PO document in Inventory Pro, and we can tweak this to look like you would want it to look. The logo would be your logo, and if you wanted to move some fields around or get rid of some barcodes or add some boilerplate to the purchase order, we can do that. But if we're only using this purchase order to interface with Sage 200, maybe you don't care what it looks like. Maybe all you care about is that it generates an XLS file or some sort of XML or something that interfaces with Sage 200, so that this PO number shows up in Sage 200. Okay.
Okay.
And then the good thing about creating purchase orders in Inventory Pro is then the warehouse knows what to expect to receive. So if you go back to that list, you know, the warehouse can pull this up when it shows up on the dock and see the PO lines, and then they can. We'll have to approve this, Ben.
Yeah, you have to open it. Probably requested. There are different statuses for the PO. You can require approvals on them or not, but there are statuses, and when they go from, I think, requested to open, they're open in there. Or I'm thinking of work orders. Yeah.
And you got an approval. Yeah, you got an approver there.
Yeah. And you have approval amounts, so you can have different buyers at different levels.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
All right. So the cool thing is that when you come in here, you can receive against this PO. And
oh, I know why, Benny. You don't have a warehouse selection. Oh, shoot. I wonder which warehouse I went to.
Leroy, can you get some water?
Yeah, just go to the header and change it. There you
Okay.
go.
Guys, to be honest, the PO, the PO element to this is not that important to us. I think where we would find the most value in this is our jobs or our projects tend to be quite quick turnaround jobs. So at the moment, we're more interested in getting the job costing right. So for instance, when we're starting a job and we have to send 5 of those and 4 of those and 3 of those to a certain job, I want to see how you can raise a kind of an internal, or how you can allocate the stock to those on a kind of project by project basis.
I wonder if we should be showing them conversion, Ben. What kind of items, what kind of jobs what kind of inventory do you have?
So we've got things like hydraulic jacks, hydraulic hoses, testing equipment, so like strain gauges. We've got lengths of cable. What else? Various different types of sensors and instrumentation. So what would typically happen is the operations manager would get hold of a method statement. He would then write a note to the warehouse boy to say, we've got this job starting. We need to have all these items for that job and it needs to be shipped to that address. That's the bit where it's kind of falling down at the moment. It's actually allocating all those items to the right job, getting them out of the stock, and then getting all of those items sent to site. So the actual logistics of it is fine. We're getting the items to site, but it's more the internal process around what we're actually, how we're actually dealing with that stock that we're finding that we're finding we're having issues with.
Right. So it sounds like, I'm trying to think, we have multiple customers out there doing similar, but maybe I can just walk you through this generic one and then we'll jump to.
Okay.
I would just set the job up as customers, use the orders.
Ben, why don't you, this is where I'm going to let you drive.
Okay, so anyway,
You're
we
able
have
to use, you able to use a job number, let's say?
Yeah, we have fields that we can adapt. So the sales order number could actually be a representation of your job order number if you wanted to. Within the, I don't seem to be able to drive here. Now I got it.
Yeah, I'm giving it to you right now. I was almost gonna
So,
make it present.
you know, what a sales order is a front end for the issue process. So it works in reverse of the PO. The PO was like a front end for a receiving process. Well, with this, it allows you to set up an order, and it allows you to assign stock to the order, and then when you're satisfied with the order, you can ship it out. Now, this order number is flexible. This order number can be a mask. These are masks in the system that we set up. So if you go into admin options here, there's a number settings. This one right here is representative of our orders, but you can mask it anyway. So you could use this as your job numbers in that case. Okay, so basically the way it works is, again, we'll go into the orders. I'll go into shipping orders. I think I have a couple outstanding orders there. Yep, these are outstanding orders. So basically, you know, you choose the warehouse you're going to ship the product from, which you only have the one warehouse. Right now we support quotes and orders. So you could set up our quick order system to use, create a quote in the system, which translates to an order eventually. But we don't need to get into that right now. But I'll just make this order. Okay, and this is where it's shipping to. So this would be your job sites. And then you can have separate ship to and bill tos. Okay, you have fields here for invoice numbers, you know, how you're shipping it, shipping instructions. These are all customizable. If you have additional information that you need to place on an order, we can do that. This customized button allows us to model the screen any way you need it to be done. Okay, so we have additional fields that are generic fields like string placeholders and things like that. And we can just make them available on this screen, and then you can change it. This is also driven by that group list. So if you want to let your customers in, you can give them a completely different view of the screen. So they only see what you want them to see. So if I choose customer here, that probably is the same screen set. I wouldn't be surprised, but if I view this screen as a customer, it's probably going to be a little bit different.
Thanks.
Okay, so now the line items are the items you're issuing. Okay, so are you committing to the job? So into the line items here. And you can choose stock here. Okay, so you can say, well, I want to, let's ship something that we actually have. So I'll ship one of those. And I'll ship one of these. Now you can save it here. You can generate a pick list that you can hand to your warehouse personnel. Okay, and they can go out on the floor and they can fill their cart with the products that they need to ship. It'll tell them where to go. All right. So it tells them where location in the warehouse they're going to find this finished product. So again, within the hierarchy of the system, you have the warehouse as the top rung of the ladder, and then underneath it, you have locations within the warehouse. So you can, you can tag your shelving, you can tag bays, you can tag pallets. Wherever you store stock within that warehouse, you can provide a label for, and then the pick list will be generated, and it'll tell them exactly where to go in the warehouse to get the stock. We also have a mobile application that works very well with this, that they can go out into the warehouse with tablets or iPhones and actually fulfill orders, through their phone, through a different UI. So if I go back to this order now, you'll see this button right here. It says Start Issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, and what it does is it populates our issue grid with the details of this order. Okay, so it's 07. So I start issue. Now, we have a function here called load all, and load all works on first in, first out. You can manually pick, where you want to pull the stock from here based upon your pick list, or if it was already set up previously. But you'll notice that these guys are serialized items. Okay, this first one. So if I were to try to issue this right now, I think it's gonna tell me that you need to pick a serial number. Should anyways, yep. So it doesn't know it, so I'm just gonna pick one. So these are, we support serial numbers in the system. We actually have 3 fields that can contain a unique identifier. We have serial, we have a serial 2, and then we have a slot for RFID tag. And then I don't think this one has any, no serial numbers there. So I'll just save it. That warning message should go away. And then if I finish the issue, okay, so it's been issued out now. So you can print a packing slip from here. All right, so that's what we actually shipped today. It shows you what was ordered and what was shipped against. We support back orders, so if these are large jobs and you don't have all the stock at once and you need to do multiple shipments from the same order, you can do that in the system. What it does is it appends a colon and then a level number to the end of the order. So if this was a back ordered item, it would be 07:1. And that kind of links all those orders together. So if I go back, let me close this guy. If we look at the order now, okay, come here, it's going to show the ship date. This is the date we shipped it, all right? And it's a completed order. And if you go into the lines, you'll see that you have a different view of the grid now. Okay, and it shows what was ordered and what was shipped. Now, everything in the system gets tracked. All right, so if you move stock from one shelf to another, or you receive stock, or you issue stock, we take a snapshot of that transaction and we place it in the audit trail. And this little link here on the item master will give you an idea of where the stock is and what happened to it. So again, for the life of a serial number, we should be able to just, unless I've mucked with this data, we should be able to just do a serial filter in here. I'm trying to get that serial number. Okay, copy. And if I go into our reports and do an audit trail, if I go to filters, or I can put it right here, I can do an SN dash, and then change this to serial. Okay, so it shows it was issued, when it was issued, and when it was received. Okay, so it gives you the whole life cycle of that part based upon serial number. These reports are all definable within the scope of the program itself, which makes it very flexible and makes it very easy for us to support you. If there are columns of information that you need to see that are not currently on the report, we can log in remotely, go into the definition page for the report, and it's a simple SQL query that we need to change. So we can hide columns, add columns, pretty much give you whatever you need to on a report. The system itself comes with a number of reports. They're just stock reports, but we do end up, customizing quite a few of them. Inventory count by warehouse is a popular one. It'll actually show you what you have in the warehouses at the time. So if I run this guy, I got a filter. Oh yeah, I got a filter for Acme. Oh, I got an error for some reason. Again, this is demo data. I apologize if there's something. Yeah, something's missing. Okay. So anyways, there are a number of reports. Utilities for bringing stock in and out of the warehouse. You can populate your warehouse using an Excel spreadsheet. If I go to the import export utility and I say export a master catalog, and I'll take it from, this guy's a little one, so I'll take him. You'll see it comes up here. It's an Excel download. Open up. There we go. There we go. So this is our standard template for an import. You specify the warehouse. I think that one was because of edit, right? Table editing. Yeah. Then the item ID. Let me see. Let me expand these columns so we can see it. You have description, whether or not the part uses serial numbers, whether the serial number is unique for each part. Make in our system is a bill of materials. I don't know if you use bill of materials in assemblies, but we have that. We also have a work order module where you can assemble finished goods out of raw materials. Whether or not it's a buy item or a sell item, what kind of packaging you use, unit of measures, main supplier. All of these values can be sucked in the very beginning to set up your warehouse. And this column right here will tell us how many of the items to place into stock.
Nick, do you ever get items back from these jobs, or do you always just ship out?
Yeah, we do.
You do get items back?
Yeah.
So that's a leasing function. This is almost really similar to Yates. On their inventory, we have a leasing concept where you can send items out to a job and then expect to get them back. And they actually have, correct me here, Ben, but they charge the job a percentage of the value of the item.
Yeah, I can't remember the formula.
Yeah, but it's like they charge 20% if the item comes back in good shape. They charge 50% if it comes back in fair shape. And they charge the job 80% if it comes back in bad shape and basically needs to be replaced, or the full value of the item.
Yeah, they don't actually use a leasing module because the leasing module doesn't have rental charges. So what we did for them was we actually created a different type of order called rental order that allows them to track and invoice those items.
Right.
So they're actually consumed. They do have a concept of consumable and non-consumable in that system. So they don't charge rental on an order that has consumable items along with non-consumable items. They ignore the consumable ones because those are outright purchased. So then it would only be the rental items that are charged. And they keep a rolling invoice basically from month to month on them.
Right.
This locate move screen gives you a view of the stock and the inventory. There's a couple of ways you can get to it. You can get to it right from the item master list by clicking on any one of the links, or you can go into the locate move screen. And this will show everything that we currently have in stock in the manufacturing warehouse. And these are all attributes. Most of these are attributes at the time of receiving. Again, if you click on, that's a label. If you click on the item ID, it takes you into a format that you'll become very familiar with. Okay, all of our screens kind of break down this way. And again, you have the customize button where we can show you what you need to see, but it basically shows what the receiving attributes were at the time of receiving. The status, you control, we have two tables for issue and receiving statuses. And again, those are user manageable lists. So if you can create, I don't know, like, like in this case, we have physical inventory. We support, within the warehouse, you can put a location on hold. So if you have like something where you put broken product, you could easily create, a location called broken product and put it on hold. And then anything that went into that would be you wouldn't be able to issue against it. You'd never be able to ship out a bad piece of goods because it would be in a hold location. Simply by marking it as hold, yeah. Looks like Ben's in control again. Two Bens.
Just temporarily. And then this checkbox is what Benson was talking about. Yeah, so it isolates your inventory while it's in that location.
Right, so if I go back to that locate move screen now, we were in manufacturing, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. So if I go back to the locate move screen, I want to move some to that broken location. I just go to locate move. Okay, I'm in manufacturing. I'll just pick one, the first one, and I'll just say, okay, I want to move this guy to broken. And I just mark them and I move them. Okay, so now he's in broken location. Got a thunderstorm going on here. What's going on? So anyways, what else did I? Oh yeah, this all works with mobile. Again, it's just a URL, so IPOL/mobile. Go back into that manufacturing warehouse. Okay, so you can see the orders here. Okay, and I'll tell you whether it's completed or outstanding or canceled.
Yeah, this is what you would see on your smartphone or your tablet if you were working with that kind of device.
And so it supports most of the transactions, the basic warehouse transactions that are needed to, to work from day to day. So if you look at the menu itself, we have receiving, purchase orders, work orders, shipping orders, leasing, utilities and settings. I haven't been in here in a while, but the audit trail's here, okay, as well. So that's what we did today in Acme Manufacturing. And when we tag parts in the audit trail, we also tag who did the work. Okay, so you have an accountability trail as well. Who was logged on, who did it. Any questions?
No, I mean, it all seems pretty straightforward, to be honest. I don't think we'll have any issues in terms of running it and using it. The main items for us, though, and I don't speak from any authority at Sage, but it does need to really interact with Sage to avoid having to do all the manual adjustments for the jobs.
Yeah,
so we need to be able to track stock movement by job. So that needs to tie up with the other job numbers that we're using. And then obviously anything that's, so it's just so that we don't have to have a person allocating those items manually against jobs. It's all. The other thing that we liked about it was having the different authority limits. So you can have, your guy in the warehouse, he's the only one that can sign things in or out of the inventory, which is good. Then the other thing we wanted to check, well, I guess this might be a question for Ryan, really, but does it tie up to any kind of barcoding systems that we might want to implement?
The barcoding is all built in here.
Okay, so if we have a scanner, if we have a scanner in the warehouse, the guy can just go around and scan things in, and it will automatically populate, will it?
Right. That's kind of what this interface is here. This tablet interface that Ben was showing you, the other Ben was showing you. I think I brought. Oh yeah, here we go. So you can use Bluetooth scanners with smartphones and tablets, or you can use USB scanners with a desktop or a laptop, or a Windows Surface tablet, because a Windows
Okay.
Surface tablet has a USB port on it. Or you can use mobile Android scanners that are industrial. And, you know, there's a lot of manufacturers out there, LXE, Intermec, Honeywell, CipherLab. There's a whole bunch of manufacturers. As long as it's an Android device, Inventory Pro Mobile will work on it.
Okay.
These all have built-in 1 or 2D scanners. So we can also do 2D labels if you want. And we interface with standard Zebra printers or Datamax, or as long as it's a printer that has a Windows driver, we can interface with it. So all the barcoding stuff you want is already built in here. There's receiving labels, there's shipping labels. We even have barcodes on the purchase orders and the shipping orders. So yeah, all of that stuff's all built in.
Okay, there we go. Ryan just left a note there saying they'll use Zebra with 2D for the barcoding.
We have a catalog too that'll print out with the barcodes, you know, the item ID barcoded, a picture of the item, and then the description of the item. We also have a smaller report that we call the barcode catalog. And it's more compressed. It doesn't have a picture, but it does all the barcoding again.
Right, okay.
And you can, we even give you the ability to barcode your warehouse locations. So if you go to the location and you tell us the size you want for the label, you know, we have the ability to do labels for the locations in your warehouse.
Right, okay.
So barcoding's all built in. You know, we just need to tweak label sizes and formats.
Okay.
If I do a simple receive here, you'll see the receiving label. I'll just receive one of these quick. So here's the receiving label for that. The item ID is barcoded, and then it automatically generated a serial number for the item, and then it gives you the receiving date and the, you know, if we had typed in a remark, it would put the remark text in there too. I think this is a 2x4 label, or 3x.
I think it's actually 4x5 or something like that. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Goes in a box.
But usually we tweak these labels to meet your need. You know, you say, this is the information I want on the label, and this is the size I want. And
yeah, I can bring up the one I just did for Anthony, which is a 2D label. Let me find it.
Oh, cool. You want me to go to
that? Was a receiving. Yeah, it's out in Dev. That's a receiving label that we did for a customer. I just installed it on Sunday.
Matter what I pick.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Shoot. How many locations in there? Try Anthony's desk, Benny. That's what I use.
As a warehouse?
Yeah, he's got one set up called Anthony's desk. At least he did.
They're alphabetical.
Yeah. That Louisville is a good one. PBM Louisville.
Why don't you hear you drive?
Try this one. Okay, well, there's 18 available, so that's got to have a location. 1 out of 10A. Generate labels, receive it. Okay. If I did my job right, this should come up, 2D label. Yeah, so this is a 3/4 inch. It's kind of small. 3/4 inch by probably about 1.5 with a 2D barcode that we did for them. So
Okay.
there is a lot of customization around the labels. People all have different sizes, what information they want to see and how they want to see it. So, you know, we can easily put one of these together for you. It takes us maybe just a few hours to generate, you know, the size and information that you need.
The system is pretty much scanner agnostic. As long as it runs a browser, you know, a standard browser, we should be able to work with it.
So like Internet Explorer will work.
Right.
IE works. All
Chrome.
the latest browsers work. Yeah.
Yeah, Chrome, IE, Firefox. That's what we're looking for on the device. Ryan should be able to help you with that stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or we can.
Yeah, well, I'll have to meet Ryan again, maybe later this week, to discuss what we can do. But that's fine. I think that's fine for us. I mean, like I say, our requirements are fairly basic in terms of what we're actually looking for in the software. It's just we're looking for a better way to track what's actually coming in and leaving our warehouse, and then in particular making sure we can assign or are assigning all of those items to actual projects, and then linking it all back up in Sage, so that's getting automatically added to the job costs and the project costs.
Right. The one thing I would add is we do have a remark field on all of this, so you could put the job number or, you know, some specific information about the job in the remarks and help track notes that way.
Ideal Image does it, and they put it on the notes on the shipping orders, and they actually use line notes to put the project IDs on it, and they do that. Or, like I said, you could, if the order is going to one job, you could actually set up the masks so that all your project numbers are the shipping order numbers. Or we could add a field to the header if everything on that, again, if everything's self-contained on one order or multiple orders, but they, you know, they're not mixing jobs, then you can put it on the header. If your location that has more than one job or project number, then we're going to have to do it on the detail level. But it really depends on your process and how you plan on shipping that stuff out. But we can make it work either way.
Okay, that's perfect, and that's fine. Do you have a demo site that we could try ourselves?
Yeah, Ryan was texting me. We set one up for you, and then we didn't use it today. Trying to remember what we called it. Ryan, do you remember?
JARD, I think. Yeah, I was kind of surprised you weren't an iPhone.
I think we did one specifically. Nah, but this is more for Ryan's company than for Nick.
Did we do it with the S name? What's the name again?
Yeah.
Brainstorm.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I apologize. We probably should have demoed through here, because this has all your logos and stuff in it.
Yeah, that's fine. Is there any way that we could upload some of our own items? Okay, you got items into that, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think we've already done all that. Oh, I could be wrong about that. So if I do a print of this, it should come up with, I would see your logo. The other thing about all the reports is you can export everything to Excel. So wherever you see a report, you can dump it to Excel. Here's the Excel for that. So I believe I made a user for you, Nick. Yeah, Ryan, Nick, Gareth, and Dave. The password's probably 1234 if I had to guess.
Yep.
It doesn't look like we loaded up your data. I'll be happy to load your data. If you just send it to us in Excel, we'll use this import-export to load your data up.
I think we've sent it to Ryan, but I'll check with him.
Okay.
He's the first guy. Yeah, okay, we sent it to Dave. Let's send it to Ryan again, I think.
Okay. So short of getting more in depth on what we've done for some other clients, I think that's probably the other thing I can do, Nick, is send you a user manual. That'll help.
Yeah.
And we've updated all of the help screens. I'll get these updated for you so that wherever you click on help, it'll work.
Okay, that's brilliant.
All right, guys. And we'll also look a little more in a little more detail into the Sage 200 interface, how simple or how difficult it is.
They got a RESTful API. It's right up Zach's alley.
Oh, okay. So
From
it
what I
should be
saw.
easy then.
Yeah, it should be easy for him.
Okay. That's fine. I'm happy with everything so far. If you can just send through the details for those of that login, then we can have a look and play around with it.
Right.
And then we'll wait for your feedback about the interface with Sage.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks, guys. Catch you soon.
See ya.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.